Thanks so much for joining. Really, it really does mean a lot to me. I love this ability to be connected across the miles like this. I do. If you're a parishioner, you can grab a bulletin or you get the email blasts. But if you're not, if you went to our webpage, sacredhearteureka.org, click on the big faith box, you can find homilies and children's messages, old and new, the priest's mass schedule, which priest has which mass, which we put there, so that my family never had to accidentally show up at a mass I had. And you could also find under then resources the bulletin to get all that kinds of information. Anyway, I really am glad you're here. The reason there's the lamp here, today Jesus talks about how, in my mind, there's that which we really can't borrow from each other or in the moment. We have to have it inside of us already. And when the groom was late in coming, some didn't have enough oil for their lamps, they had to go borrow it. We're wise if we keep alive inside of us those things we'll need to draw on in the moment. I'll speak about those things in the homily in just a moment, but mostly, thank you for all the work you do to make sure you have alive in you what is needed and when the time comes. Thanks. In this part of the country, we have to be ready for power outages every so often. A storm blows through, we lose electricity, and suddenly it's dark. Now, over the years, some have used lamps like this. You've probably noticed this, but isn't it true that in the darkness, a little bit of light can make all the difference? Now, one of the realities of such a lamp is that it will burn only as long as the oil in the container lasts. Much like modern day flashlights, which need batteries. You got to have a charge in it, so the lamp has to have sufficient oil. In today's gospel, Jesus uses the image of a lamp like this to teach us a crucial truth about the importance of having enough inner reserve and the danger of not having a reservoir when the time comes. The bridesmaids who did not have enough oil presumed that they could borrow it when they needed it. Their frightening discovery was they could not. And so they missed the banquet. It was awful. They missed it all. Now, this story might sound odd coming from the mouth of Jesus, because usually his stories, they encourage generosity, sharing, and taking care of others in need. But in the story, they didn't share, and the bridesmaids run out of oil and are told they must go get their own supply. Now, that late at night, it would have been all but impossible for them to buy oil in time. Here's the point. When the moment comes, there are some things we cannot borrow from others. We have to have it inside ourselves already. It doesn't matter how smart your teacher was when your boss asks you to add something. Your spouse might be great at being gentle and patient with a sick or frightened child in the middle of the night. But when you're the only parent at home and suddenly it's your turn, you got to find that inside you. Or your parents' faith, it might have really been inspiring to you. I always admired that. But when you stand at their graveside, you're going to have to find something inside yourself upon which to draw. The oil is a symbol of what we need to draw on in a particular moment. The virtue, the wisdom, the strength, the goodness we need to find inside ourselves right then. You know, it might be when we face a tragic crisis, a unique opportunity, or maybe just one of those times when the right thing needs to be done. Now, don't hear me that everything depends on you or me. It's not our responsibility for everything. But often, in a moment, there is that which only you can do, or only I can do. Right then, we can't borrow what we need from somebody else. It's got to come from in here. And so, we need to practice intentionally connecting with God now, so that when the crises come, and they will, we'll know how to get to that place inside where God is, to find the strength we need, the comfort, the wisdom we need. We need to work on being more flexible now, before any major life thing like getting a roommate at college, right? Or getting married, or having kids, or any of those things where flexibility will be required of us, really. And we don't wait to be kind at home until things settle down at work, because the pattern of those relationships, actually the relationships themselves, are being formed now. We need to practice seeing and savoring the blessings of an ordinary day, so that when the heartaches come, and they will, we have perspective and a reservoir of what we will need inside. And we need to keep an eye out for others in need, and to remind ourselves now that the world is not all about our own comfort. So that, you know, when, for example, you or I are the first ones to come upon a car wreck or some other crises where help is needed, we know it is ours to do whatever part we can. The truth is, there are times when we cannot borrow what we need from someone else when we need it. We have to have our own, or we'll miss what the moment offers us, or what the moment asks of us. Today, Jesus reminds us that we need to build up that reservoir now, because the painful reality is we never know when the lights will go out.